sweet. How's your hunger? Speaking of things like muffins and chips, how's your appetite?
It's pretty good.
Really?
Actually, yeah, I love eating. Problem is that this is basically one big tumor in my entire stomach area. So I have to eat little stuff at a time.
Because it takes up all the room.
It takes up all my stomach area. And also this thing, it's got,
Yeah, he's pretty big.
yeah, he's like, I call him Quasimodo.
I like it. Like a little friend that's hanging out with you.
Yeah.
My perception from having him, how about you?
Okay, cool.
My perception from afar is that you are working in this phase of your life with as much humor
Yeah.
as you can.
Yeah.
And then I think that you're trying to put a different face on this than other people maybe have seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that accurate enough?
I want to be as encouraging as I possibly can and as real as I possibly can about what cancer's about.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have a different, a lot of people don't really understand cancer. They think cancer equals death.
Right. That's not how that
It's
works.
not that way at all.
Okay.
And to me, I'm sorry, I'm just moving that for some reason, I don't know why.
I love that. That's a me move. It
It
doesn't have to go anywhere, but I'm going to make it.
I'm-
I didn't think I was going to come down here. I didn't think I was even going to ask, and I was even afraid, so I asked your brother first. I said, I want to have a talk with John that no one usually gets to have, you know, and you have dealt with cancer now for how long?
Since December 2017.
December 2017, you get horrible news.
I basically was stretching and I found this little bump in my neck, and like any human being, this isn't right, this isn't supposed to be here. And I spent the next 2 or 3 days getting getting an x-ray. And they rushed me from the x-ray to a CAT scan, and then from there they said, whoa, get him over to MRI. I'm like, wow, this is obviously urgent, right? And then I found out eventually, it took like a month for them to finally diagnose a cancer called follicular dendritic cell sarcoma. It's like this name that's incredibly sexy and easy to remember. And it turns out that only like 100 people or 50 people get it every single year. It's a very rare cancer. And since I've had it, I've only met or spoken to 3 people that have this cancer. And initially, should I keep going?
Well, yeah, but I want to pause just for 1 second.
Pause.
2 things in what you just said are not good things to hear in the medical world. Whoa, let's rush you somewhere is not good to hear.
No.
The other is not many people have this one. What did you run into because it turns out yours is so rare as far as education, as far as knowing what to do next?
Well, of course, I went to Wikipedia. Wikipedia does have a whole page on it. And I looked at it and kind of did my own research about it. And the problem with an extremely rare cancer that a lot of people don't know is that they have to deal with the cancer by proxy. In other words, like this cancer has some characteristic that this other cancer has. Let's try and treat it with this chemo that has been proven to work with this other cancer. So it's kind of like trial and error.
Wow. So you find this information out. So the first thing, everyone who hears you have cancer, no matter what, skin cancer, whatever, they're all cancer.
Yeah.
When you hear it, most humans alive say, that's it. I probably have a day left. You know, you can't not think that. You must have had that. When was the distance between the first time you heard cancer to it's not looking good, John, cancer? The first time.
Okay, could you repeat that question?
Yeah, I know. It was a long question. In finding out you have cancer, when we hear that, we think, well, that's it, I'm dead tomorrow. Then you hear, well, you know, there's a lot of ways. There's a distance between cancer and outcomes. So many people have other outcomes. That's part 1. Part 2 is, when did you hear the first time, we don't think it looks good, compared to now?
Compared to now. So when I first learned that I had cancer, immediately, it was like over the weekend where I had to have these tests, and I wouldn't be able to meet with the doctor until like 3 days, 4 days later. But when I heard I had cancer, my initial response was bring it on, okay? Because as a Buddhist, I've been a Buddhist for 30 years, I understand that any kind of obstacle that you have in your life, you can choose. You can choose, oh man, this is horrible. Or you can choose, bring it on, I'm going to use this to transform my life. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm going to transform my life in a positive way, no matter what.
And you started that transformation. You started the bring it on part of your phase around when? When was this first?
It was the day that I found out that I got cancer. They didn't know that I had cancer.
Okay.
They didn't even know the type. It took a full month for them to learn the type of cancer because it's so rare. But it took a couple of days for me to be like, bring it on, you know. And, you know, of course, over the past 2 years plus, there have definitely been ups and downs. You know, like, you know, this is going to kill me. I'm definitely going to die. To I'm definitely going to win. Like the highs and lows are huge, you know.
When was the first time someone said, because I think there's been more than a few, you could correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
When was the first time someone said you're going to die and you proved them wrong?
Oh, many times. But at this point now, it doesn't look good, right, because I'm in hospice. But the first time someone said you're going to die was kind of near the beginning, because it's an aggressive cancer. The biggest characteristic of it is that it has a high reoccurrence rate. So kind of like, you know, one of the first times was when I read the Wikipedia page. I was like, whoa, okay, no more Wikipedia for me.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, that's when I learned, you know, the first time.
So you get told this, and you say, well, I think I'm just going to take that and work with it. I'm going to fight, and I'm going to show other people, maybe you can do something with this.
Yeah,
Someone out there said you're fooling yourself.
yeah.
And a lot of people said, I support you because they love you and they want that too. So it's in the middle. What is it?
It is in the middle. I mean, there are people that say cancer equals death, and they're just stuck in that world. And then there are other people who are more hopeful. So some people say you're not going to make it. Those people are, you know, kind of negative, I guess. They might say things about that and a lot of things in their life. The people who are more positive are going to say, you know, keep fighting, do your best, you're going to make it, you can do this, you know. In fact, I have a Facebook group called Watch John Beat Cancer, and a lot of the comments were like, go get him, you're going to win, we're totally behind you. And that supportive community was a big part in helping me get to how far I've gotten so far, or, you know, to this point.
It is weirdly voyeuristic. And I think there's a lot of emotions that go through someone who are not you. They want you to win, no question. That's easy enough. They want you to win. They want you not to feel pain, which they, you know, turns out life is pain. They also, in watching this, someone's thinking, thank God not me, thank Buddha not me, you know, and you're carrying that for them too. But I think everyone's very optimistic until you tell them not to be. And it's been a long journey of a great deal of optimism. Do you have to pull from that? Did you pull from that? Was it helpful to have the optimism around you?
It definitely helps to have the optimism, but there was times when I felt despair, okay? And I didn't want to share that with people, honestly, so I have to say I haven't really told the whole story, but there have been many times when I just was in the depths of depression. And I never considered committing suicide. I would never do that. I decided a long time ago I would never do that. But there were many times when I felt that I'm not going to win. This is definitely going to defeat me. And those are, the good thing about those things is that they're nothing more than my feeling inside, right? It's not reality. It's a feeling inside. And the good news is that I can change that. I can kind of somehow fight really hard to get to that place where I'm optimistic. And I have to be, because the optimistic energy, the attitude, the appreciation, even appreciation that I have an opportunity, actually change the body physically. They bring out and improve immune function and a lot of different things.
When you say this, some people are thinking in that sort of woo-woo way, but you quite literally had a deadline date, which is an awful way to put that sentence.
Yeah.
But someone said, this is about when, and you are past that by how long at this moment?
Well, I've doubled what the doctor's expectations have said. I'm the outlier, basically, to the doctors. But this cancer is pretty aggressive, and I think over the past 6 months, 4 to 6 months, I've really had to come to a place of acceptance. And it's not because of what the doctors are saying, it's because of what, I'm in touch with my body. I know what's going on inside. The last round of chemo we did for 6 weeks, and I think that was a couple months ago, 3 months ago. We went in, and the doctor basically said, it's as if the chemo has made your cancer has become resistant to any kind of chemo.
Oh, wow.
And the cancer actually just continued to grow. And it's pretty significant. And I've had 2 oncologists this past October tell me, if I were you, I wouldn't do another chemo. Because it's just going to, I would enjoy your life for as long as you can. And, any more treatment like chemo is going to kill you.
John, very few people are exactly where you are right now.
Yeah.
Very few people have gone from, you're gonna die, oh, no, never mind, you're gonna just power yourself through it.
Mm.
You're facing it.
Yeah, yeah.
And you said to me something, people say the most sugary things to someone who's not well.
Yeah.
But they want to say all the loving things. But you said something that blew me away, literally not, the way people say that. You said, I was a little embarrassed, or I didn't want people to see my depressed side, I think it's pretty fair to feel either depressed and or suicidal facing your mortality. How? Why are you still keeping that or away, or what does that mean for you to not share that part of the journey?
Well, it's part of everyone's journey, that's why, okay? So I have many, many friends who have fought as hard, or maybe even harder than I have, and guess what? They still die. So no one is exempt from death. In fact, the number one cause of death is birth. So we all have to deal with it, but somehow we always keep it in the background. So I accepted it from that perspective. Birth, old age, sickness, and death. These are just facts of life. I'm going to keep fighting as much as I can until the very end. My family knows, my friends know that I still eat healthy. I still try and, walk around. I could do possibly a mile of walking a day at this point. I'm still going to keep going until the very last moment.
I'm asking why. Why not just lay on the couch?
Because I could hang out with people like you.
For longer.
Yeah, for longer. It's the truth. If I have one more day where I get to see my brother, or one more day where I have an opportunity to share this situation with other people, or see my son, he's 16.
16 now?
Yeah, he's 16. If I could have one more day where I'm functioning in a way that is able to create value, it's totally worth it. And that's exactly why you see me walking around the block with this thing, and my girlfriend Kate, she said, well, we should get you a cane. I'm like, no freaking way you're going to see me with a cane.
Yeah, I'm not using
on
the
the
cane.
street. But now, I fold it up, and I keep it discreet, and if I do need to use it, I can simply flip it out. It's like a weapon.
It's like a superhero thing. That's what I thought. You're like Daredevil.
I love this thing.
All right, you mentioned your son and you mentioned Kate. I don't want to ask the question. I just want to say that and pause, and you just answer it for me. What is that? How is that? I mean, with love, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's a hard bunch of conversations.
Yeah, it is. It is really tough. I think it's harder for them than it is for me. It is hard for me sometimes. I'm not afraid to cry.
Yeah.
A year ago, 2 years ago, Guthrie, my son, would say, you know, Dad, you're crying. I'm like, I know that I'm crying.
Yeah.
I feel the tears, you know, and I think it's harder for my son to see his father go through this, I want to say, decline, and also this range of emotions that I have. Now, I can laugh. I've always laughed. I can now cry. I can now hug my son and say, I'm going to miss you. You know, and those are really intense things.
Yeah.
And Kate and I have done the same thing. She's a little bit more reluctant about acceptance. You have kids, so you know that as a 16-year-old or a teenager, it's easy. It's a different stage. So, for example, you know, our video game room is downstairs, right? I know your son plays video games.
Yeah, me too.
And so I get a phone call, and it's Guthrie. He's downstairs, and I've gotten used to this now. But you know, a long time ago, I'd say, "Oh, he loves me. He wants to tell me how much he loves me." Instead, he said, "Dad, can you give me 30 more minutes on the PS4?" and what that tells me is that he's doing fine.
It's life.
It's life. He's doing fine, and at his age, he needs to have not only a place to get away, but also a place to go to where his friends are at, because he connects with friends.
Sure.
You know.
Sure. Let's talk about connecting. You've been a Buddhist for so many years. That community, your community of Buddhism, is different in that they are very globally connected to this, and you've had so many people pray.
Yeah.
You've done it too.
Yeah.
How does it help?
Oh man. So it's a practice of chanting every day and every night, no matter what. You know, that's the only, what do you call it, commandment. You know, chant morning and evening, and regardless of how I feel in the morning, I can bring that feeling to my prayer, and I can bring out a more positive force in my life. So I might feel really depressed or anger nature or some other kind of thing, and I'm able to chant about that and say, you know, what's my mission with this cancer? What's my, you know, how can I turn this poison into medicine in my life? And as I said before, you know, I'm using this cancer as an opportunity to encourage other people, to say, this is how you can face an obstacle. I'm just a normal human being. I'm not special at all. And I'm hoping to show people that you can do the same thing, you know? I've been divorced. I've dealt with going through divorce. I've dealt with many other obstacles in my life. And now I've dealt with cancer. And now I'm dealing with the ultimate thing that everyone will have to deal with, and that is death. So I think that's where the Buddhist practice helps me raise my life conditions so that I can be stronger spiritually. You know, I have to eat right, exercise. The thing that the doctors don't help you out with is they can basically work on how long you can live. You know, we can help you live 5 years. But if I say, well, what do I do with those 5 years? They're never going to tell me, well, I don't really know, you know, where's your bucket list? I don't want to jump out of an airplane. I never wanted to.
Never did.
You know? So the value for me is again, as I said before, getting together with friends and family and really creating memories that no one can take away.
Yeah.
You know?
I have two last short questions, and then we can drink up the rest of our tea. You should start. My question number one, your humor has been with you. If someone asked me what you most remember about John Hayden, I will say the driest sense of humor that snuck under the radar. So humor has been and is with you.
Yeah.
It'll go with you the whole time.
Yeah.
Number one question. Number two is, do you still waste time?
I don't, actually. I feel like I have to run to get stuff done. You know, if someone's like, wait, hey, we need this, I'm just like, I'll do it, I'll get it myself. So I don't waste time. That said, I do like to watch on Netflix The Crown, Curb Your Enthusiasm. I'm watching the entire Mad Men series, but I remind myself when I'm doing that, I'm like, is this creating the most value? You know, maybe not. You know, so I always ask myself that question a lot more. Is that really creating the most value when Kate is here, when Guthrie's here, when Jim is here? You know, I could be doing something better.
Sense of humor. One last question about that. What's a joke you use right now to help other people get through? You help more people deal with their discomfort around you.
Yeah.
What's one of your go-to John jokes about that? Anything?
Well, there was not necessarily a joke, but an idea I had for Halloween. It's kind of a sick joke. And my camera can be super dark too. So I was going to get a Grim Reaper outfit, right, and cover my face. And basically all my neighbors know my situation. So I'd go up and I'd say, you know, trick or treat, this and that. And then we'd open up the door, they'd say trick or treat, and then I would take off my hood. And they would be shocked and angry that I would be so offensive in this costume. You know, and to challenge me. Trick or treat. Oh, this is disgusting. They slammed the door in my face.
So that's this end scene.
Exactly.
John Hayden, thank you so much. I appreciate this time so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for this.